Hello and welcome to Coffee with Dr. Carla. I'm Dr. Carla, and today I have Lindsay Evans with me, and we're glad that you're here. Our goal for today is to talk about mental health related issues and the stigma surrounding them. So, when people start to make changes in their life, um, changes that essentially defy what's happened generation after generation after generation, right? You were sharing with me at one point that that was the case for you. You said, nope, I'm not going to keep my mouth shut anymore. I have to talk to somebody. I need help. Um, how does that show up or translate to your husband and children and your day to day parenting?
I'm going to go back and then go forward.
Sure, go for it.
So before I got help, or maybe when I was getting help and I was still in the beginning of my journey, my son is so into me. He knows when it's
Very
off.
intuitive, huh?
Very. And there is this note he wrote me that I keep in my office. It says, "Mommy, are you okay?" And
Oh,
he drew a picture. And I think I just broke down that day because he really knew that I was under a lot of pressure and I wasn't, myself. Um, for him, I wanted to show up differently. Growing up, I experienced a lot of separation anxiety. My birth father, my parents got divorced, and so I was raised by what the world will say is a stepfather, but he's my dad.
right.
Um, but my mom traveled a lot for a living
Okay.
out of the country, so she'd be gone 2 weeks at a time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it was like, she was always gone. And then when she be home, she's busy, so she's still not present.
Yeah.
I noticed I was going into that cycle. And when I started to, come and actually talk through it and see what I was going through at that time to get help, I noticed that even though I didn't want to, I was turning into her.
Okay, so mom's modeling of what it meant to be a mom and a woman
Yep.
was being translated to how you carried out life.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I saw how it was affecting my son.
Mm,
Once I started coming and, actually going through doing the work, that's when I was more aware that he was just like me.
okay.
And then I was able to remember what it was like when I was
Yeah.
him, and that it broke me. I was like, okay, we got to do something different. And so now I'm more present when I'm with my children and my husband. Um, I'm not on the phone. I'm not, I want to let them know they matter.
Right.
And we have time set aside where it's just for us
Okay.
so that they know, hey, even though mommy works hard, and sometimes I do have to go to work, but you are still important,
Right.
and I still will make the time for you. So it really affected my family for the better. Um, but even before, with my husband, he knew something was different. And he's more of a sensitive, caring, type of guy. So he's like, listen, what do we need to do? Because I don't like it. I don't like you being like this.
Yeah.
And I will say that he has been a strong, rock for me during the process.
That's awesome.
Um, because every day isn't easy, and then to have that cheerleader behind you, like, yes, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. Now that was it was important. I didn't know that I needed it, but I did.
Well, and there's a stereotype out there for men in general that we don't talk about our feelings, we don't cry.
Oh my
Being
goodness,
sensitive
yes.
means you're weak, right? Oh, and you sure don't get help, right? So,
Mm-mm.
I mean, you found yourself a gem,
Yeah.
and and it sounds like he's not afraid to show his feelings.
Nope.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm really glad. Boy, I was blessed. Because guys I was dating, were not like
Not the
that.
right fit, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that made a difference in my journey.
So now, so you got some time now that you spend as a family. It sounds like you spend time, individually with the kids as well, so that they, have that one-on-one time. Um, what would a conversation look like, or what might it look like? How do you help them understand emotions and feelings and all that other good stuff?
So my son will call me on it if I'm having a day.
Oh, okay.
He's like, "What's wrong?" So now or he'll catch me crying. Like, "Mommy, what's wrong?" I was like, sometimes, you have to cry just to, or it was somebody had passed away. I said, well, somebody that I loved passed away. And so we would talk through why I'm feeling the emotions that I'm feeling.
Okay.
So he didn't just, I didn't want him to worry because they worry. And
Right.
he's like, what's wrong with my mom?
Especially if they can't make sense out of it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we don't have to go into these really elaborate adult explanations, but
No,
as long as they can understand it for whatever age they're at, then they're more secure in whatever's happening.
absolutely. And so he would do things. I'm like, mommy's really just not having a good day. It just wasn't a good day today. He was like, oh, do you want me to rub your feet? Do you? I'm like,
You're like,
absolutely.
oh, yeah,
So then he's trying to, do things that may bring me joy so that I can get out of it. That's why, I'm glad that we do communicate emotions and things with him so then we can know how he's feeling too.
right. And how is it when he's feeling these things? How do you respond? Are you able to stay present with him, or does it become too much sometimes for you?
I used to be, what are you crying about? Why are you crying? There's nothing to cry about. Now I ask him, why, what's making you upset? And then we talk about what it is. And then he's like, oh, okay, I'm better.
Okay, good.
We're
Yeah.
able to process it. Uh, I did not have that. So it's
Yeah.
really great that
I
he
mean, I
can
didn't have it growing up either, It was like, it just was what it was,
stop crying. What are you crying
Right.
about?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's how we do things now. And I mean, he's so aware of his feelings.
Yeah. And he's 7 now?
7,
Okay. And then you have another little one.
1. She's 1.
Okay. And one, they know a lot. Maybe we're not having conversations about our feelings,
They feel it though.
right? They do feel it. And you said she's almost 2.
Yeah,
So yeah, she's walking,
she just started walking,
babbling a bit, probably.
babbling a lot of a bit.
Yeah. And how do you help her regulate her emotions?
She's a tough cookie. I'm having a time because my son and my daughter are night and day.
Yeah.
I was like, he was so easy. And she just has all these emotions.
Yeah.
Um, boy. But I'm learning how to be present for her. Because you know how babies are. They
Yep.
just want what they want when they want it. Um, but just to spend the time with her, I feel like it does make us bond more. And so like she kind of understands. I understand. Like we understand each other.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I read someplace a couple different times, but it popped up again recently that if you sustain a hug for 20 seconds or more, that's when the dopamine and all the happy
Oh.
hormones start to uh, um, come about. And so um, well, I have 5 grandchildren, but 4 of them live with us, and 3 of them are under the age of 5. One of them's 16. She's too cool for words.
Oh
But
yeah.
the 5, the 3, and the 8-month-old, I shared with them this tidbit, and so now they want to be able to hug for at least 20 seconds to the point where we count it out, right?
Wow.
And so it it's one of those like little pieces that we learned, right? And then I could share it at a kid level. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't care what hormones were they just know that
It
they're supposed to make you feel better.
makes you feel better.
Right. So we count it out and we hug, and and it does help. It also slows us all down so that we can then respond instead of react. So yeah,
The pandemic helped that too.
it did. It did. It most definitely did.
It slowed me all the way down.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I was going nonstop.
Well, because that's
That's how we did it.
That's what success is. Busy, busy, busy means you're successful, successful, successful. And, you know, really busy, busy, busy just means that you're wiped out.
Wiped out.
Yeah.
We have nothing left for anybody.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I really like that this generation of kids are being talked to more about emotions.
Yeah.
You know, the idea of emotional regulation is not completely foreign. Um, it'll be interesting to see as they get older if it comes to how it benefits them. Like if it, you know, if it allows them to deal with things better?
Better,
Are they
yeah.
more willing to access help or anything like that? It's hard to say. I mean, nonetheless, I can't imagine that at the end of the day, just being more emotionally aware is going to harm them.
Oh
Right?
no,
Yeah,
yeah. And I mean, you got all the social media and stuff now, so they're showing up in a way where they're not as quiet. You know, they get more comfortable being open because that's what everybody's doing.
exactly. Exactly. So as you and your family have a new normal for, you know, really breaking that cycle of keeping everything quiet, um, any pushback from the extended family about this? Or do they even notice?
Wow. I don't know that they notice. Yep. I don't know that they notice anything that has to do with the family unit.
Right.
Just, the differences the changes that I made. Nope.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah.
So let's you know as we get to this to the end, what might you recommend? Like what would you suggest to a mom who's trying to, you know, help her kids, her family to be more emotionally aware? Like what kind of things would you recommend?
Become a kid. You gotta, once I was able to really relate because I was able to go back to when I was a kid to just remember, okay, now how would you feel if this were happening? Becoming a kid helps you communicate with them in a kid like manner where it's not above their head, but you present it simple enough for them to get it. But then they feel like you you're with them, you care. So yeah, if you become a kid, that'll help them really go through that.
You said something earlier too that I think maybe I would add to this. You know, while you know we don't always want to cry in front of our kids or show
Right.
strong emotions in front of our kids, but the reality of it, you do, and you allow yourself to be vulnerable and authentic. So that's not like, oh, this is good for you, but I don't have to do this. So, you know,
And that's how it was growing up too,
right,
They didn't parents didn't let you see them cry, and
yeah,
everything was hush hush.
yeah. So, yeah, well, I mean, I'm so glad you had the journey you did because now you're raising a new generation to look at life just a little bit
A little
differently.
bit differently.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So remember, you can change your thoughts, discover your potential, and transform your life by focusing on your overall well being. Until next time, continue working on being the best you possible. Bye.